Welcome back to the Media Bolt podcast, where we talk all things content creation. So no matter if you're shooting on a big budget cinema camera or you're using this cell phone right here to make your videos, we're here to provide you with practical knowledge for the next time that you press record. Today on our episode, I've got the great Director Baldwin. He's a fantastic director, got a really unique eye, and I think somebody that you need to know if you don't know him already. Thank you for coming on with us today.
Hey, thank you. Hey, guys.
Yeah, man. I just want to kind of start with, what got you into filmmaking? Why do you love it so much? And just where did this passion come from?
Yeah. I feel like I'm being cliche when I say I've never wanted to do anything else. Yeah. But literally, I have not ever wanted to do anything else. Back in the day, it started off as like, oh, I want to be a sketch artist or a digital artist. And, I'll get my start and do some doodles and things like that. And I was actually really good for a period. And then that switched over to painting, and I was really good at that. And then my mom, she showed me an old movie, Walls of Jericho, animated, completely tore me apart. I'm just like, that's what I want to do, right? And it kind of encompasses all of that art form that I was into prior. And after that, it was kind of just, I'm going to write this story. I'm going to write that story. I'm going to take my little brother and do skits. I'm going to do skits with everyone at church, after church, before church, during church. And it kind of just stuck. I tailored my entire high school career towards, I got to get to film school. That's what I got to do. So yeah, as cliche as it might be, I've always wanted to do something in the creative field. It didn't turn out to be film until I got to college, and I went to film school, and you learn all of these principles, and you learn all of the disciplines that are associated within our industry, but it wasn't film specifically directing until I got in school. So, yeah.
So you get out there and you get that feeling for the first time, and you go, yeah, this is really it.
Yeah. Because early on in my career, I thought I was going to do logistics, production management, assistant directing. And that's kind of what I went for. I went out of the gate for it. So after school, I moved back here, got a few gigs locally. And then I interviewed for a film that was in LA, and they were like, hey, we really love you. We like your vibe. We think you'd be great. Can you get to the office the next day? I was like, oh my gosh. So I bought a one-way ticket to LA, and, I lived out there for a while, and I just did the AD production management track, shadowed some union ADs out there, went through the DGA program for their assistant directing trainees. I did not get in. I got to the final interview stage, and that still stings me to this day, but they were really gracious and invited me to shadow some of their union first and seconds. So, yeah.
That's dope. So then what was it that made you realize, I want to run the whole shebang and direct these projects and really start to, I guess, just take hold of your vision?
Yeah. When you sit behind directors so often, at least for me, I started to pick apart their process, not in a bad way or anything like that, but it was just it'd be really cool if we shot it this way, or what if they said this to get this reaction, or what if we didn't tell that person to do this and told the other person to do something else. And I fell in love with, it's kind of like chess. I'm not a chess player, but moving those pieces over the board over the course of whatever the shoot is, and that's when I fell in love with it. I had a mentor in LA who I met through a friend who got me on this shoot out there, and he was kind of like, you're really good at the AD thing, but I could tell your heart's not in it. And if your heart's not in it, you shouldn't be going, because you're gonna get stuck and you're gonna be unhappy, and it might be a longer career track and you might have some more things to figure out. But he was just like, I think you need to focus on directing. And so I came back home, and that gear flipped, and I was directing music videos and trying to shoot stuff here and there, and eventually it went into some really hardcore filmmaking at some point. So.
That's so dope. Yeah. I remember there was a time when I because I just fell in love with cameras and tech and that stuff and lights. And so my eye kind of goes towards like that DP mindset. Something visually usually inspires me. But I had that moment where someone told me, you need to direct, don't be afraid. And I was like, God, like I want to be behind the camera. Like I want to be hands-on. And I've worked really hard to kind of be hands-off now to try to like get out there and just make the vision happen.
Yeah.
And there's a different freedom there. And it was a great piece of advice because it allowed me to kind of realize at the end of the day, I just care about making something dope.
Yeah.
Not being afraid to, like be the floor general, like as a basketball player or something, like, and just facilitate, you know what I mean? And I think that was my eye-opening thing. It's cool to hear your story because that person knew like he needs to be running the show.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be.
He was at me for a while too, like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, this is clearly not the place for you. Like, and it wasn't. I mean, I pride myself in knowing the workflow of that. And so that I think helps me be a better director. So I can speak to some of those experiences and kind of tailor whatever we're doing towards those experiences. So in that regard, everything's a lesson. And for that reason, like that's what's made me the director that I am today. So, very logistics focused.
Yeah, for sure. Why is storytelling so important? And why is it so important to have people that look all different ways telling, authentic stories?
Well, it's changed for me over the years, but storytelling now it's hard to come by. Like true storytelling, like everyone is in it for the quick, like short burst of dopamine, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's rarely these days a story. It's just look at all of these cool things and bam, you've satiated your fix, right? I don't want storytelling to be forgotten. I think there's something to be said about the first, second, and third acts of anything, of a movie, of your life, of, tying my shoe has like steps to it, right? And everything has steps to it. And I feel like as technology improves, as everyone has access to the same things, that art form is slowly degrading. So my reason for doing it these days is to keep that alive. You can still be a commercial director. You can still be a commercial filmmaker as well. So,
yeah, and I think the people that actually focus on that are the ones that, even if it's in a bite-sized form or in a shorter, quicker fashion, it's better. It's better content, even if it's just content versus making a feature or something. But storytelling, I know that for our company, that's like what we try to base every decision off of, whether it's lights or it's what camera we're using or what scene location we're going to go with to do the project is all story. And when you focus that way, you typically get the best out of whatever environment or budget you have, right?
Yeah. Everyone's happy. Even when the money isn't there, when the production value isn't there, as long as everyone at the end of the day can come back to it and say like, hey, I worked really hard and it turned out really well and I was able to tell a story that meant something. That's like some of the most fulfilling moments for sure. So
absolutely. Looking into your work, the thing that stood out was your kind of abstract eye. And like your insert shots and just like detail shots were approached very differently than maybe some other people that I've seen. And that's what stood out to me. And I really thought that was cool. But where did your style come from? And maybe your like, your intention on, showing something differently than most people would.
Yeah. I always look at any project, anytime I can cut away to something, I want to show a different position of juxtaposition. So I think I know what shot you're thinking of, but like if we can juxtapose braids with grass blades and like things like that, I think it does offer a different perspective and it kind of lends itself to ambiguous storytelling. So it's what could I mean when I say that? Obviously I have a reason for doing that and picking that and writing that in, but I'm giving the audience the ability to kind of craft their own story within that juxtaposition. And I think by doing that, I'm able to extend its life form. You know, you get better legs with it, for example. Yeah.
Well, somebody can watch your stuff and then instead of being done with it, you impact them. You made them think. You made them contemplate. Okay, what was the director thinking, and what was? I think my favorite films. I always love leaving and talking about the film when I'm done.
Yeah, everything's not so pointed. Like I think the misconception is that a director is always supposed to point you in the direction to look, but like what's happening elsewhere, you know? And that's also a lens to storytelling. Like you have to include your audience, immerse them, and allow them to kind of explore that story, even if it's not what they're physically watching at the moment. Yeah.
Damn, I like that. I felt that. I felt that. Yeah.
I used to have a saying that like, I guess you could call it a mantra, but you know, if what I'm making isn't making you ask questions, then I'm not doing that correctly at all. And I need to go back to the drawing board and make sure that I'm asking or introducing the right things to, you know, sponsor that question.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not mind control though.
In a way it is. It just, I think with any type of art, you're trying to like get people to ask questions, have conversation, and, you know, decide on, am I making a change because of something that I felt? I mean, I think that there are a lot of inspiring films that make people really change the way, in a good way. Hopefully people are, you know, change the way they think or they view the world. And a true director has to have that in mind from the beginning, that, you know, what I'm making has a purpose and a reason, whether it's a story of mine or a story of somebody I know, or just a worldview, I guess.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I started in music videos. And, you know, every client that approached, be like, oh, I want to shoot this video in front of my car and I want to have all the dancers and stuff. I'm just like, that's so boring and it's so overused. And like, let's make a story. Like, who are you and why are you doing this music? And let's work backwards from like where you are now. Right. And that's kind of how I've taken that approach to like everything. Yeah.
That's super dope. Well, let's start talking a little bit specifically about one of your projects, and get into the weeds of what your mind was thinking when you were going through these things. Yeah. Without spoiling all these things, you have a project called Victorious Red. And when I watched this, I stopped and I started over. I had to watch it again just because it was like, wait, kind of left me hanging. Where did that project start? Did that come from? We won't, you know, explain the whole thing, but and then, you know, what were you really trying to kind of prove with that, I think?
Yeah. Long story short, Victorious Red. My wife will attest that. Like, she was like, dude, you need to get a hobby. Like, you need to find some other things to do. Because like every director has that one script and that one pitch and that one, you know, treatment, whatever. It's like that for me was like what I staked my directing career on. And the way I came by it, when I was working pretty heavily in Chicago, with a group of filmmakers there, they did what's called Do It for the Gram. I don't know if they still do it anymore. This was a while ago now, but they would get a bunch of filmmakers who had never worked together ever and have them pick their DP out of a hat and their actors out of a hat. And then you speed date with your crew and you pick them based on the two minutes that you had to meet. And so I was a part of this like inaugural event, and we did that. And I picked the film that at the time it was called Artful Pain. I picked that out of the hat, did a short rewrite on it. So originally it's based on a poem. And yeah, and then, you know, we went into production 2 days, and it was some of my finest directing, I think, just because I was able to really hone in on the actor Jacqueline. She's a wonderful, wonderful actress. She was going through trauma of her own, and we were really able to like look at that and pull that into the film itself. But really, I would say it's a character study.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely like, how does one bring in so much bad stuff, and you know what happens when we put it out, right? So in her case, it came out in the form of that painting.
Yeah.
And she views her world, her husband, who she's in love with, in that manner. And you know, I recently heard a quote from a worship church service that I watch, and you know, in that it says, or the leader, the pastor says that what comes in comes out. It doesn't matter how it comes out; it will eventually come out. And you know, it's kind of an introspective look at how that character puts her darkness out. Of a much larger story, because that I worked backwards on that one. So what we had was that snippet, and then I wrote a feature out of that 2-minute, 2-page script. So we got 110 pages out of it. And that for a while was, like I said, I staked my career on that. I was pitching that in meetings all the time, and, you know, making decisions based on my heart and not like what was supposed to, what made sense for business. So yeah, it's one of those that will go down as like one of my best pieces. And I think it lives, and it served its purpose as living as that minute clip into Nicole's life.
Yeah, and that, I don't know, that was the thing. I looked at all your work. It stood out and made me somewhat have an understanding of who I'm talking to today. We just meeting today, but also opened me up to your world and to like how your brain thinks, or how you portray your mind on the screen. And another one that really kind of stood out to me was the future we live in. And I think that I really like the way that you aesthetically like titled each one of them. That stood out to me. The typography also, and then like just the different looks and styles, like everything, like it was cohesive. It was like a feel and a mood you were going for. Can you tell us a little bit about that project, and what you were kind of trying to hit with it? Yeah.
You direct, as you know, ideas hit you and you can't help it. So like that, that's what happened with this. It was like, I think I was watching Blade Runner, actually. That's what I think it was.
I feel like that's where a lot of ideas start.
And I was like, yo, how would a fashion commercial go if it were 110 years in the future? Or like, what would that look like? Yeah, probably severely different. And so that's kind of where that idea baked from. I always thought it would be really cool to have fictional characters that kind of like what the kids do in video games, like with Fortnite, they're buying like clothes and stuff. Like this is their avatar. So all of these characters were avatars for people in the real world, but not. And that's where that juxtaposition comes in, to tie in the real world imagery to that digital realm that we were reflecting on. And not many people know that. So
yeah, that's crazy. I love it. Go watch this, by the way. It's sick.
And so the idea behind that was, you know, how would we do a fashion commercial, but each person, each model, each brand of clothing had to live on its own. So like if you were just looking at Alex, right? Mm-hmm. What is Alex's wardrobe persona? And then how do we tie that into some storytelling? So the storytelling element is whatever they were doing in frame,
right,
kind of alludes to whatever person is controlling them.
Gotcha. Yeah. I like that. And then the samurai blade that comes out, obviously for me it screamed Kill Bill a little bit. Was there any type of connection there? And how did Tarantino kind of imprint himself on you on this?
I think as filmmakers, you don't have a choice but to let Tarantino take a hold of you at some point. Kill Bill is one of my favorites of Tarantino's. Just like those micro shots within like these huge scenes, right? Mm-hmm. Like to be able to have a fight scene with all of this going on in background, foreground, all of it, and then you're cutting into that like, and that's like, so that's what I was trying to do is like we have this obviously not as large of a set piece, but we've got this set design, and let's cut into some of the microaggressions that are happening.
The details.
Yeah. I'm definitely a personal, like I like all of the little moments within the larger dichotomy of the scene, if you will.
I love that. I think that really, it lends to just world building and just like storytelling. And I think a lot of people miss that because they're just filming actions.
Yeah.
But you miss it's like we're having this sweet podcast right here, right? And we're looking, but you might have missed that we got these lenses back here, or that might tell a little story about what type of filmmaker we are, or just the little things, the details. Like you got the
cine lenses.
Yeah.
I didn't miss them.
You saw them, right? But like those, a lot of people miss the details that actually help tell the story of the character or just what's going on. And I think I really like how you also show those, but show them in a way that most people wouldn't, even if they were trying to intentionally show them, if that makes sense, whether it's just the angles or the time you show them and cut them in, those kind of things. I think that's really cool. It's abstract in a way.
It is. It's, I've worked pretty hard to try to find a style that's uniquely mine, that's separate from other directors. And it's really easy to mimic or see something that's really cool and you want to do it. And that's cool too. But you should always be trying to find out what your language is through that. And that's another thing to the point of today's culture is like, it's so easy to copy paste over and over and over because it's giving you the views and it's giving you, the notoriety. But like, are you making good stuff?
Yeah. Are you
fulfilling
stuff? Are you growing at
Right.
all as a filmmaker? Is it just, and I know, we run a production company, and a lot of times it's like, well, client wants what this other client did, or like, but it really comes down to like, how can we make each piece stand out on its own, be its own thing, and be great in its own way. And I think that's the challenge that a lot of people have. And me starting off in this thing and just like getting interested in when I did and trying to, I kind of got on that YouTube scene. I wanted to be a YouTuber and copy and do that. And I realized quickly that like, that's not what I like about it. It's really the growth that I like about filmmaking and always learning. So I guess my curious mind is why I got into it. So I did copy, but then I realized I got to get out of that and start learning more and developing just kind of the visual language. I think that's one of the big things. Once that was kind of put in front of me, it opened my eyes up to like, oh, everything means something to tell that longer story, right?
Yeah. Yep. There's always some sort of thing you could be learning to like further your directing language. Mm-hmm. And that's going to strengthen, as you know, when you're going into client meetings and things like that, that'll strengthen your resolve in the end anyway. I feel like that's also an issue I run into in general is like, oh, you're too creative for that. Like we just want point A, B, C.
Yeah.
Giving us the whole alphabet. Because like I truly do like if you were like, oh, let's shoot a commercial about that, right? Like I'm now thinking, how did it get here? Like who made it? Like maybe there's a backstory line to the color.
Yeah.
Like, things like that. This is how like my process works. So
some clients like, I just wanted it on a white backdrop and just
quick
video.
That's cool. We could give you that too.
Yeah.
But like, what about this? Because this might be what you need. Right? So yeah,
that's dope. And I think that's why you are who you are, because the way you think, it's not just a I think sometimes people think, and I'm a victim of this, I'm thinking so much about what gear do I have and how can I make that work for my project instead of what vision, what's the story, and now let's find the piece of gear that works for that best. You know what I mean? I think that's really cool. That's really cool to hear.
Thank you.
You're killing it, man. I'm really enjoying talking to you because it's opening my eyes to a different way of thinking, along with like, you know, I think now I'm in a position, I've been doing this now almost 10 years, 8 years, and I've changed a lot because I was a content creator type person, and now I really like focus on the filmmaking side of it, the storytelling side of it. What kind of advice could you give somebody that's struggling to come up with a new idea, or kind of in that, you know, we always kind of need that like kick of inspiration? Where do you go when you're like, all right, I need something fresh out of the box to get going and just really just get that excitement again?
Yeah. Unorthodox. I get most of my ideas either when I'm working on the yard, so when I'm outside, when I'm watching my daughter play around, sometimes ideas will hit me there. If I need to be pointed and direct and find something to do like really quickly, I'll throw on my favorite movies. I can always find a new idea within those same couple of movies. And if you're wondering, Black Swan.
That's what I was going to ask. What was your top?
My top is Black Swan. And it's been that way since it's come out. And I'm not like a dancer. Like I have no relationship with ballet in that way. But like I wish I did, because that was just a very beautiful story about ballet, but also like how the psyche takes over when you're doing something you love. And you could probably attest to how our minds fool with us on a daily basis is like just being creative, right? So that took it to a new level for me. Anything Alex Garland does, I'm a huge fan. Ex Machina, Annihilation.
Yes. Dude, Ex Machina was crazy.
Dude, yeah.
That was the movie that was like being teased to me to watch. Like, was it on Netflix for a little while? Where did I watch it on?
I think they pulled it.
They pulled it, but it would like show it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch that. And I watched it, and I was like, damn, I should watch this like from the beginning. That was a crazy movie.
It's a slow burn, but like it packs a punch, man. I like Prometheus. I know, people will say what they say, but Prometheus is a good one. But yeah, top film still is Black Swan. And then, the Citizen Kane. Like, I gotta say that.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. I guess I don't like to go out and say like I'm that person that, like, I love movies growing up. My pops always took me we had a dollar movie theater, and we'd go see like everything like 3 weeks after it was in the movies. Yeah, hit the dollar theater, right before it hit DVD or whatever, or VHS. But once I've learned and got interested in filmmaking, I'm going back and I'm like, damn, those classics that I loved. Now I'm looking at it with a much different eye. I think, like for me, one that was forever imprinted in my mind and like what I like in movies is Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
It just like, it messed my life up in a good way. Like seeing that, I was like 9 or 10. I should not have been watching that movie, but it was just like the best thing ever. And that inspires me a lot in the type of movies that I like these days.
That whole era of filmmaking was just different. Like, I feel like everyone was telling a super important story. Like, and get like Platoon around the same time. Was that Jim Caviezel was
Thin
in
Red Line.
Like, dude, yeah, like all of these movies telling like equally important stories. Just it was crazy. My dad was similar, and he was a huge like techie person. We always had like DVDs. We'd always obviously go to like Hollywood Video when that was around.
I love it.
And do the rental thing, but we always had like whatever movie came out on Friday in the Best Buy new release section. Yeah. Like those were the movies we were picking up. So like Crouching Tiger, that sort of stuff was what we watched. And then like,
were you ever on the Kung Fu kick? Like any Bruce Lee stuff?
Jackie Chan for me.
Okay.
Who Am I was I don't know if that's the title of it, but it was like someone stole his identity, but he was like this secret agent.
I don't know.
I watched all of the stuff that wasn't Rush Hour with,
Yeah.
with Jackie Chan.
Everything else.
Yeah. What did I just watch with him? The Foreigner was really good.
Okay.
Jackie Chan still kicking butt. So
He's always kicking ass, man. He's always kicking ass. Here's something, since we talk about we're always learning, what's something that you've learned recently about directing that you're applying or adding into your bag?
Ooh, there's so many different things. Your team really matters. More so, like I'm finding this out as I go along. Like, yes, theoretically, the director is plug and play, right? But you should make it a point to be sure that you are close to the team that you're plugging into. I get that like from my AD days, like knowing everyone's strengths, knowing everyone's weaknesses,
Right.
knowing what every job is, knowing that the sound guy had a bad day before he got here. And just you knowing that as a director helps you influence the order of things, what you might say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe we won't start with that shot because it's very like boom heavy. Like, you want to give them a break. So, I would say that's something that I've learned really recently. Is I kind of assumed, oh, you could just hire me. I'm the director. I'll just come in and, you know, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
And we'll get it done. But like, you actually have to be like a super, super people person all of the time. And then like, don't be afraid to learn from the people that you're crewed up with. Like, you are always learning. And, you know, you might learn a thing or two from the gaffer that you think you didn't need to know, but now you know it.
Yeah.
And take that with you and share it to the next team that you plug into and kind of keep that information transfer going. And I've worked with like directors that like are like know-it-alls. And it just, no one is having fun, you know? So yeah, I would say that's like top two things as of recently. Yeah.
I like that.
And then I'll give a third one.
Send it. Let's hear it.
It is okay to say no. You were put in place to be the visionary behind whatever the shoot is, right? And while we want to be as collaborative as we can all of the time, sometimes it's okay to say no. Like, hey, you know, I understand, but this is why it's got to be done this way, because it still technically is your vision. I mean, we know in this world we have other factors like creative and, you know, there's other factors that play into that, but like, it is okay to say no. Like, I've run into many times where I'm just like trying to be so accommodating to everyone around me, and eventually the shot is getting lost in all of the smudge because you're being so nice and so overwhelming with, you know, but it's okay to say no. You're not hurting anyone's feelings if you're saying no. You know, that's at the end of the day is you're here to steer the ship.
Yeah. I think sometimes I like to try, if you are saying no, explain why. Because then that lets them say, oh, okay, they understand, they fully understand the scope of the vision, and I trust that. Versus just no, and then walking away.
Yeah.
Because then that leaves the question of like, maybe they're just that asshole that just wants it their way. You know what I mean? I think just communicating properly and taking that extra second and time does go a long way, because that's a moment that really could affect that crew member and maybe not want them to be around again. Yeah. Which as the other way, that would build trust, actually.
100%. And you're always going to need to go back to the person you pissed off. Like, I've learned that too.
Big facts. You're going to piss them off, and an hour later, you're going to be needing them.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. I really like what you're saying. Like, in my prior life, I was a professional baseball player, and I really try to take that mentality of building the best team possible. Directing, I want to be the coach in a way, like the head coach. I want to put my players in the best place so that everyone can thrive and we can win the game. And that's kind of how I look at directing. So when you were mentioning that, like just finding those best teammates and putting them in the right place to be successful, you know, not knowing when to push them so that they rise to the occasion and when not to, and when to put them in a safe place where they can thrive, vice versa, I think is really important. And knowing the person, you know.
At this point, you're a trauma-informed creative.
That's deep as hell.
Yeah, coaches do it, right? So why should that be any different for us? Like, I feel like there's a misconception about the creative industry and the long hours and all of the end-to-end stuff. But like, we are people, and we work really long days and work really damn hard on stuff. And like, your job, though you're the director, is just as important as the grip.
Yep,
exactly. Nothing is getting done without any of these people. So
yeah, I had a good friend, Spencer Ortega, recommended me for a PA job on a bigger project, and he told me the reason it was important is because you need to be able to respect that PA and what they're doing, because every job matters so much, and just getting the feeling and getting in there and getting gritty, you'll always have that respect for everyone on the set. And not only that, seeing the other department heads and how things work and all those type things. And that was a really eye-opening moment for myself to just be like, all right. And then when you're sitting there on set with everybody and you know that grip's been going through it because they've been lifting and moving stuff for the last 2 hours just to get things in place, like giving them a little pat on the back and letting them know you appreciate them. Those things are important that you might kind of not think about because you've never been in that position.
Right. And, there are a lot of directors who haven't gone through the types of ladders that we've gone through. So, they're not informed as much as they should be. Right. So
they get out the trailer and go to set, sit in a chair and just think it's all good.
Yeah. I was on a set on a shoot with Sean Powell, and he set up a chair and everything. I never sat in it. I sat in it once.
I'd be scared too. I feel like, first of all, I'm a person, I need to be up in the action. And the second of all, I feel like I don't deserve it with everyone else. Like everybody else deserves. Yeah. Like we should have a bunch of chairs.
They give you the video village, and then you're carrying it around right next to the camera.
Touche. Hey man, it's evolving. One day you'll be in your Apple Vision Pro, and you'll just be floating around set.
Not for $5,000.
We'll get there. Do you have any tips for new directors? Like, man, I've been really interested in acting, or I've been really interested in, DPing or whatever it is, but I want to direct, and I want to direct my first thing. Any tips to kind of get them off the ground and kind of, make something?
Yeah. This might be a double-edged sword, but I wish that when I started that I was able to defend the work that I was doing sooner. As a director, you're leading, you are talking, you are presenting, you are the lifeblood of the shoot, right? So if you're not interested in it, if you're not excited about it, no one else is going to be. But when people start to ask you questions about it, you should be able to tell them without a shadow of a doubt whatever they're asking, whether you need to defend it or describe it or, act it out. Those are qualities and skills that I wish that I learned way when I first started. Because, at the first started, you're like, oh, I'm directing, like, I just want to do this. It's really cool. That's why I want to do it. Yeah. But like, why do I want to do it? Psychologically, why does this make sense? Why am I breaking the 180 here? Like, what benefit is that to your audience, right? Are they going to care? And if so, why should they care? And then this skill is even now helping me to this day. Is like, because now you get into doing treatments and like you're talking with clients, and your client's not going to pay for anything until they know that you've got it 100% dialed in. So going back to like world building and think of everything before they think of it, so that they're just like, cool, yeah, like we trust you 100% with our time, our money, our resources, our product. And then, you just got to get out there and do it. I recently, for me, it's been like meeting new people and like networking. And that's something that I hated doing. Like the thought of being in front of however many cameras are right here is like, like, what am I doing? But like, you got to do it. And like, even if it's just like cold reach outs to, local filmmakers, let's grab coffee, tea, whatever. Like that's something you have to do earlier.
So networking is like 100% the most important thing in our industry. And I think a lot of people are introverted that are creatives. So it is a tough thing, but I would say to anyone, just get out on the limb, because probably the person you're reaching out to is the same way, and you can break that barrier and find a new friend or find a new mentor or find a person that inspires you. And whole reason we have this podcast, because we wanted to talk to more people like that are in our network, in our community. And it's been one of the biggest joys of my life to do this and to be able to have these conversations. And it's been a joy to sit here and talk to you today, man. Like,
thank you.
I really like the way your brain works, and it's exciting to hear. And I just kind of question I got for you to kind of round this thing out is like, what's next for you? Like, what do you got on the horizon, and what are you hopeful of?
Yeah. For me on the horizon, I've got so many irons in the fire right now. It makes zero sense, but I've got a project in particular that is in development that I don't know if I can talk about it or anything like that, but that for me on a personal and professional goals, for me it would really move the bar up. So doing that, and then just on an everyday level, just trying to find and hone in on my skill sets a little bit further. One thing I've been trying to do this year is find representation or get rostered, which is something I should have been trying much sooner than now. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I'm at that stage where I've created some of my own work, which has gotten me some other work. And now it's like time for the next step. So that's what's on the horizon for me. Just cranking. I've got Stronger Every Day drops, and it might have dropped already. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that one looks sweet, man.
So that'll drop soon, and then I'm finishing up post on the Sirenus wellness drink brand shoot that we did. So actually, I just got color back yesterday. So
almost there, then. You're getting close to the.
Yeah, these round trips are just getting longer and longer. Like, and the spot is short. Like it's 20 seconds, but yeah, the color is just like, I like to get everything dialed in, and like this might be a deficit also, because like there is a thing is you just got to put it out, and like, sometimes I've had editors say like, dude, there's no more you can do. Like, let's just put it out. People need to see it. Let's go. Yeah, it's fine. And like, you're always gonna find something wrong with it anyway. Yeah.
I was talking with Cody LaPlante about that, and he was saying you gotta Rick Rubin it and just shut it down, just cut it off and put it out.
Yeah, like how many edits was I allowed? Because I don't think we hit that number yet.
Yeah, so keep work all the way up to that deadline, right?
All the way up to it, like an hour.
Enough time to export it and get out of there, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Could you just tell the people where they can find you, find all of your work, and stay in touch with you?
Yeah, definitely. All my socials the same. Director Baldwin, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, even my website. You can just type in Director Baldwin in the Google. Yeah, cool.
Appreciate you, man. And no matter where you're watching this podcast or listening to it, do all the awesome things, like, comment, subscribe, share. Just help get this word out there. And we appreciate you for checking us out today. Have a great day. Peace.